All right, how y'all doing?
All right.
Yeah, you ready for some poetry tonight? All right. So welcome to Angry Cow Poetry in the Rialto living room, the amazing Rialto living room. Thanks so much, as always, to Seth and Nate. Amazing place here. If you've never been here before, I know some of you have not. There's awesome things happening all the time, including tomorrow night. Jim Ballard, sitting over there, is going to be playing up here with Bob Frank. Special guest tomorrow, Jim Ballard, along with Jim Ballard's here every first Thursday, so 9 after us typically, but different guests with him each night. Tonight we have a fantastic feature. Michelle R. Smith is an amazing presence in the Northeast Ohio poetry scene. She is the programming associate of Literary Cleveland, does awesome stuff with that. She has created and produced Blak's Museum, which is a performance showcase, which Danielle has featured in before as well. And that's coming up this February. I think there's 3 different events for that. She's been published in many different journals. She has 2 of her own books here with her tonight, available for purchase. She has the Vagina Analogues, which I own and is awesome. And I've read, and of course, and then she has Ariel in Black, which I need to get tonight because I actually don't have that one yet. She's amazingly supportive of the poetry community. Not just she does amazing work herself, but she's just this amazing figure in the poetry community. And it is an honor to welcome to the stage Michelle R. Smith. Yeah.
So people read your bio and you like, are they talking about me? And then you wish your mom was here so she would know that you're not nearly as bad as she thinks you are. Hello, everybody. How are you? Hi, Michelle. Happy New Year. Yes. Like he said, I am Cleveland poet, and how many? I'm doing math now. I think I've been reading out, was 2023, so for like 23 years, which is crazy. I was an infant when I started. My first book is Ariel in Black, and the reason it's called Ariel in Black is because I have 2 favorite, well now 3 favorite poets, but my very first poet that I loved was Sylvia Plath. And, oh, look, she got excited. That's right. And so at some point I was writing and I wasn't getting an MFA and I wanted to start to like stretch myself. So I found out what a Shinto is, which is, and now I get into my teacher voice. Does anybody know what a Shinto is? It's a Japanese form of poetry where you make poems out of other people's poems. So I thought that was like a really challenging thing to do, right? Because when we write, we have our own little alphabet of like words and images and things. So to take somebody else's pieces and make your own thing is really challenging. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna do this. So I took Sylvia Plath's book Ariel and I started making poems out of Ariel. And it was really challenging because as we know Plath is like this very white, fluent, blonde, tall woman, Ivy League educated and writing in the 50s. Mm-hmm. And I was doing this, black, not so tall, stunning. But still not that rich in the early aughts, and so it was and she was living in the countryside in Britain, and I was living in Cleveland, which is the furthest thing from the countryside in Britain you can ever get. And so trying to make those words say what I wanted to say was really, it was a feat. And so I was writing these poems. I told my friend, and he was like, "Oh, that's a book." So when he started his press, he was like, "Give me your Plath poems." So that's why it is Ariel in Black. It's red, because anybody that knows anything about Plath knows that it's all about red for Plath. So these poems are poems that are made out of her poems. But now I feel like they're my poems. So Cento number 1, Our Men. Their smiles catch onto my skin. Little smiling hooks. They unpeel my old bandages, open my blood to listen, to love. They bleed me. They pick off my beauties. They flake off my hope. They hurt me. They close their mouths on my kiss like a communion wafer. They eat my oxygen. Nevertheless, my mind whines to them. They wall up their backs. They sink out of sight. They boomerang, anchored elastics. They travel the world cruelly, fixed to their arcs like gods. They are so beautiful, so necessary. Their opening eyes are my sunsets. Their voices are my love gifts. I live them. I hate them. They tongue my need with put-by smiles. They mouth my name with sour breath. Nevertheless, I want them. They drag my attention from its stiffened sleep, plying their wild selves, their curious hollows. Is it any wonder I am following behind them like a suicidal moon? They threaten to let me through the black amnesias of their love to a heaven warm and human. It is perfectly natural if a woman wants their darker dress. Look at them. Dancing, delighting, titillating, glittering. They have hung on through so much killing by the skin of their limbs. Look at them. I am sick to death of them. Wincing on and off, shaking, masturbating, complicating, hugging hate to them like a valuable. Handling the black parts of my body like gold, then vanishing. To them, woman is obscene, spotty, striped, delectable, poisonous, hot, cold, white and black, sapphire, ruby, a vice, religion, clean, dirty, pathological, pure. To me, they are dangerous, ridiculous like balloons, but they are brave too. I have fallen in the old gate of their despair. I have cobbled their griefs. I have glued together their pieces, lost myself in the cold folds of their ego. And this is the fruit of it. Our love is the only miracle I know. I am sure it is just what I want. They are my arms. I am their legs. And I love them. I love them like history. I always read that one first because my husband likes it. Okay, pop quiz. What are the 3 historical stereotypes of black women in American culture? You know?
They don't feel pain.
Names. 3 names.
Oh, names.
The types. Yes, that we don't feel pain for sure. That's the myth. 3 names.
Oh, 3 names. I like to say.
Yeah, no. They're like the angry black tropes. Yeah, but what's the angry black woman's name? Do you know?
Sapphire.
Sapphire. Thank you.
All right.
Sapphire. You know the other one? 2 more. What about the fat, warm, loving, cooks, cleans?
Mammy.
Mammy. Here we go. Last one.
Sexy.
Meg. Carter.
Big booty.
Right. Turkey. Jezebel.
Jezebel.
Those are the 3 stereotypes.
Taught me something tonight.
Yeah, those are the 3 main stereotypes. The oversexed, sex bunny Jezebel. The mother who takes care of everything and coddles everybody's pain, Mammy. And then the mean bitch, that's the Sapphire. Right? So there is one poem for each of them in this book. But I'm going to do the one that is my favorite, which is Jezebel. Jezebel's Requiem. Do we know what a Requiem is? That's the poem we read when somebody dies. Remember, lies have propped the walls of your hothouse. Strings attached in the valley of your thighs that revolve around the wheels of their terrible brains. Remember, they crap and puke lies. They wake and sleep lies. They walk and talk lies. The staticky noise, the churn of the impotent man. Once, you were beautiful, untouched and untouchable. You have fallen a long way. Your body drags history after it like a dark crime. Grief worms like plasma through the beautiful pink of your waist-high wet. Once, you were beautiful. Your sweet sex was a pearl. It is love you were full of, clamoring blackly in the strangle of flesh. These maniacs, marshals, admirals, generals of everything, of business, these great vulturous light borrowers, emptied you of sugar. I have buried your model body, this apparition, with excessive love. I have swabbed your nakedness clean of tarnishes, pinned flat pink roses, desperate butterflies, to your hair. Goodbye. Do not be ashamed. You are something else over and under your tongue, breasts, hands, privates, knees. Remember your sunken heart, your flowery kindness, your immaculate mathematics. Remember your radiance, your beauties, your blood. Remember, every body is a whore, but the soul is a bride. So I will say, I don't think that Tory Lane should have been put in jail for 20 years for shooting Meg in the feet, but I don't think that Tory Lane should have shot Meg in the feet. I'm just saying. Just saying. So, what you are going to find is that every time I write a group of poems, there's always some like project to it. So I have a group of poems that are persona poems, and they're poems written in another voice. And I'm trying to think. The first one was, I guess I'll read that one. I read this article in the New York Times where Thelonious Monk's wife, Nell, I learned that she worked the whole time that they were together so he could do music and didn't have to worry about making money. So he could be as experimental as he wanted to, and he didn't have to worry about making money. So she kept the job. She supported the family. So I thought that that was romantic, right? You know, in the way that we define romantic, very gallant, right, and sacrificial. And so I wrote this poem about it. And then what that did was it got me interested in the stories of other women behind great black male artists. And I started looking at other wives. And so next thing I know, I had this whole stack of poems about women who were married to jazz men. And women who were jazz women, but were also wives. Because that's a very complicated thing. Any woman that's an artist and a mother and a partner knows it's tricky. So they're called jazz wives. I try to think of a fancier title. That was very obvious, right? For a poet, jazz wives. But I got a few, and I'm going to read a couple. So this one is called Melodious Thunk, and it's in the voice of Nellie Monk. I learned the city songs with my spine, my hips, the crush of bodies in the subway, an endless line of dance partners. We moved to the low rumble of trains burrowing beneath the concrete. We jumped at the angry horn blasts of gypsy cabs. We sang along to the metrical chants of street vendors. We spun in the shrill wail of police sirens. We laughed, tickled by a freedom blessed as Florida water. Back home, a black man's life could be flipped as faithfully as Peter Demon's penny. A white man could murder you and serve a minute in jail. He could pay a fine of less than $500. Back home, I sniffed at beaches I could never step on. I trudged through mud thick with the blood of Seminoles that refused to leave their lands for the flat old Oklahoma. But in New York, I kicked up my heels. I learned beauty from the gaseous blaze of it burning up the night sky. When Mama wanted me home, I watched the city from my window. I caught basketball games on the blacktop courts, the fistfights, my ghetto ballets. Black and brown boys contorting themselves into manhood. I sneaked out to watch, batted my eyes, and blushed at their grunts. You found me in this maze of dark, artful bodies. You introduced yourself, and I marveled at your name. I knew you were a musician right off. Your pulse ripped off mine when you touched me. Your fingers played over my skin, loosing secret F notes from between my thighs. You struck unnamed chords in my mind, melody in unison with your heartbeat. You made jazz of us right there, something never played before. Secretly, like, I want to be a comedian, right? Like, I don't know. I think, I don't know. I mean, am I the only poet that I would love? Like, I would trade every bit of that, like, to be like a stand-up comedian.
I'm with you there.
I swear. I think it's genius. To make people laugh is like the hardest thing. You make people cry, that's easy. You show people a picture of your baby, oh my God. But like to make people laugh is like, you know, it's a magic trick. So these are like one hitters. It's like, right? They're not like funny ha-ha, but I do hope that they're like sarcastic. Billie Holiday's Lessons in Love. That's what they are. Real quick. I'm gonna try not to go too quick. Cause I did take Adderall before I got here, so I'm a little bit not like recreationally. I got the ABCD. I just stopped sweating too. Okay. Billie Holiday's Lessons in Love. 1. Girls with daddies that play jazz got hearts that syncopate. 2. You can afford to sell your body, but never ever yourself. 3. A paying man puts more heart into anything he's doing than a motherfucker merely volunteering. 4. Make sure the woman they love is the one living in your skin, not on the stage. 5. Tape your money to your leg when you go to sleep, so if he leaves in the night, he can only rob you of your heart. 6. If love is your dope, don't be dumb and marry your dealer. 7. Marry for love and divorce for love. Last one. Human hearts are strange fruit. The part about taking her money to her leg is an actual biographical fact. Yeah, that's it. Right. That's a different kind of love. Like, he might rob me, but I can't leave him. I can't leave him, girl. Can't leave him. Wake up. Oh, okay. It's terrible. It's terrible. All right. So Miles Davis, a legendary genius jazz musician and misogynist off the charts, had 2 beautiful wives. Everybody knows about Cicely Tyson, but the other one is Betty Davis. Does anybody know Betty Davis? Afro. Have you ever seen a picture of this black woman with this afro and these silver boots and her shirt tied up and like booty shorts? But it's not Cardi B. Like, right? It's old. That was his first wife. Her name is Betty Davis. And it did not work out because Betty wanted her own career and he did not want Betty's own career. So this is called Bitch, in the voice of Betty Davis. And when you go home, iTunes, Spotify, Betty Davis. You gotta do it. Alright. When you are new and small, part of the picture in his mind, you can be his mademoiselle. Silk and satin and lace. Flim flam floozy fantasy. A fluttery tableau tucked into his pants for safekeeping. Since music is his thing, he pretties you in piano, soft and sweet, melts you into submission, teases away your fears with playful pitter-pattery fingers of horn. When you are his bride, bright and black, his beautiful fleshly promise of love, he will listen to you. He will see your magic. He will trust your wisdom. He will know your worth. He will not just show you the parts of his mind that make the jazz. He will let you touch them, and for the sake of romance, leave your fingerprints, the outline of your lips in sugar plum. But don't be tricked by it into loving him funky, free, and foolish. Don't gorge him on the raw sugar in your skin. Don't let your goose loose. Don't let him sniff the chitlin and moonshine stank of your realness. Don't let him know the sticky, icky, so-called sacred of his big dick baptism did nothing to wash away your wildness. That you are still freaky for your own sake, and you are still strange as you want to be. He is a touchy motherfucker. He only wants women that are messes of his making. Muted trumpets, rags covered in the blue and black stains of his spilt violence and bullshit apologies. He does not want your nasty gal, the part of you that is anti-love and short shorts, high heels in Hollywood, fishnets and hair picked out to here, backseat and a bad trip, a star with your own orbit, a song with your own strange rhythm. If you untie the chain around your mouth, shooby-doop in your silver boots, piss your managed funk into his ritual brew, you will be a bitch then. Trash, a dirty dog, an evil nothing, a lie he tells the world to cover for his inside-out suburban feelings. He will leave you then in the mud, the diamond that pricked his nose, a masterpiece of his jealousy and your genius. I left my silver boots at home. I'm just kidding. All right. Last jazz wife, and then I think I'm going to stop because I need to drink water. And I also don't want to bore y'all.
No.
Thank you. So this is in Nina Simone's voice. So this is a jazz woman who is also a wife. Spell to Return Love to Me, recipe written by Nina Simone, South of France, 1992. And I will say, if you want to suck up to me, then you will make a big deal out of this one because this is the favorite poem that I ever wrote, right?
I love it.
So like full disclosure, I have been writing since I was 9, but it wasn't until I wrote this poem that I was like, oh, okay, you're a poet now. And I think I was probably, might have been 40. All right. So Spell to Return Love to Me, recipe written by Nina Simone, South of France, 1992. Go back to Tryon, to North Carolina, on the night of a tent revival, to the field where it happened after it has emptied, to the spot where God is lingering, catching his breath to depart, and put your pot there. Take off all your clothes, your underthings, leave on your pumps, black patent leather, bathe in moon, let a breeze sweep away any fear hanging from you. Take a hand of zoysia grass seed, a lost bit of coal, a yellow scrap of bach, a tube of cake, mascara, a prick of blood, a glass of champagne, a sprinkle of rhinestones, the pieces of the old white things you took and smashed. Fire up the pot, mix the unction, cook it quick, let it cool slowly. Take and rub it into the torn out hunks of your lonely heart. Gather them in a sweaty handkerchief, then again in a silk head wrap, tie it off with the string of a black baby grand, place it in a rich bitch pocketbook. Take it to Bernard's Beach, stand with it in the sand at dawn, hold it up to the sun, then out to the ocean, set it on the water. Use the power of your 10 relentless fingers that fought against ordinariness, meaninglessness, artlessness, and sing. Anything you want, anything that you deem holy, anything that feels at home in your mouth, something to expel your regrets, something to remind you how to hope, something clean of all the shit of money and fame. Use the joy of your absolute genius, the pride in your little girl, Use your hatred of Nina and her betrayal of Eunice. Use your hatred of Eunice and her betrayal of Nina. Use every atom of jazz living in your magnificent goddamn body. Watch as your heart floats away from you. Camp out. Wait. Rock to the ticking of the clock that has always moved you, ages ahead of everyone else. Wait. Use your freedom for yourself this time. And when your heart floats back to you, home to you, soaked in your magic, delight in it, finally know that you are the prize and always have been. Andy was wrong. The music was right.
All right.
All right. Little hand yet again for Michelle R. Smith.
All right.
Unfortunately, I'm afraid I'm entirely different.
It's all good.
We'll start off with something just fresh writ tonight. When you're old, everything is about memories, mostly softened through the rose-colored haze of time. At this point, I've no choice but to own my oldness. So, here's a couple of memories for you. This goes back to the eclipse. Under the Tennessee sky, which darkened with the eclipse, an excellent band spun a sci-fi rock opera. Sunset spanned all degrees of the compass. A black butterfly slept on a blade of grass. After the event, the magic faded quickly into milling traffic. Miles to go to Louisville, supper and sleep. Long stationary spell on the interstate, dark and late. Got where nothing left but Fritos and a tall boy for supper. Still, the eclipse was worth it all. Thank you. All right, I don't have a lot here. When you get old, your internal sensor goes quiet, at least somewhat. And then I've got the last piece. This is actually a song, but I'm not singing it yet. I'm still grinding away at the music side of it. But I figured I ought to preview it a little bit. Once there was a certain girl in the place he used to go. She got inside of his feelings. He never let her know. After drinks and laughter, gonna walk upstairs to bed. He knew she'd see the others. It was always left unsaid. Outside the sun was shining. No time for a sad refrain. He saw some moisture in her eyes. She said it was just the rain. He was just a soldier, young and far from home. He knew that he just wanted not to feel so all alone. In the fog of war and whiskey, he was just too blind to see. He never really saw her life and only thought of he. Short time paid up lovers, no time for a sad refrain. He heard some sadness in her voice. She said it was just the rain. He's not the boy he was back then. It was quite a while ago. Now he knows the pain he caused. Can't claim he didn't know. He thinks about those days back there, miles and years away. Now he knows the harm he did each time that he'd pay. When the sun is brightly shining, no time for a sad refrain. If you see some moisture in his eyes, he'll say it's just the rain. Thank you. You can always find the music side of me and some of the poetry at www.edmanwalking.com.
Dead man walking. All right, then. I feel that.
So Michelle is not the only poet in the household. We have her husband Josiah is going to bless the mic here next. So please welcome Josiah to the stage.
All right. I'm going to try not to embarrass myself in front of my wife here today.
You can never.
So I don't have a lot to choose from, unfortunately, because I just got my phone. I never leave the house without my backpack, she knows. But today, I don't know, I just wanted to be streamlined. So I don't have my backpack, which has my palm tissue. So, oh no, I lost it. So I did this ekphrastic poetry thing. For folks who know what that is, it's like there's like a piece of art, generally visual art, but I suppose you could do like audio art or something also. But she did it with me as well, and it was kind of around. I think it was around. Was it the 4th of July?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, so it was around the 4th of July. So it was a lot of like patriotic exhibits and like takes on patriotic symbols and things like that. And this piece, here we go. This piece was based on a piece of art that was like, it was like this little triangle that had like threads in it, all unraveled, in just like a big ball on some gravel. And those threads were red, white, and blue. So those, they were actually like, it was a flag that was unraveled in this little triangle. So this piece is called Unraveled. Perhaps it was an issue with the raw material itself. The cotton. Picked by hand, black fingers pricked and bled. A natural dye, they thought. Thread, woven, red. Poetic and utilitarian at once. Perhaps it was the Union blues, worn and tattered, carrying too much gunpowder for the rag man to wash out. Or maybe it was the pristine white dress antebellum, far too much lace, too impractical, but what was America without its fragility? This is the birth of a nation. Perhaps it was an issue with the manufacturer. The seams not heat sealed, allowing loose threads and frayed edges. Maybe it boils down to cost-cutting measures, profit over people toiling long hours, Sally Hemings and cutting room trimmings. Perhaps there is a ghost in the machine. Ouija board-like maneuvering cogs and sprockets, gears, levers, and flywheels with unnoticeable subtlety as long as your eyes are closed. Just enough to leave the periphery vulnerable. Some say it all happened in just 4 years. We know better. Either way, the strands came apart, no longer a symbol of freedom or slavery, community or capital, democracy or fascism, just a muddled mass of thread on a native's land.
All right. All right, thank you, Josiah. Excellent. All right, next to the stage, we have a regular here at the Rialto favorite, if you will. First feature of Angry Cow Poetry, and also a feature at the recent winter break. Please welcome to the stage Danielle, Nicole, Nikki, Dixon.
All right.
I'm about to lower the respectability politic just a touch. Now, this is a very serious poem. Very serious.
Only fans.
Yeah, you can get some of these cankles on. No, okay, no, never mind. I'm kidding. I don't have an OnlyFans. We're not gonna go that way. Okay? We're gonna, get a little bit above that. But so this poem is called "Stop Shaming These Sluts."
Yeah.
Hypocrites, know y'all need to stop slut shaming. Boys, stop shaming these sluts. If you didn't need her, then she wouldn't exist. And now you walking around like you wasn't trying to hit. You acting like you wasn't the one all up in her DM. You acting like you wasn't the one that asked for her digits. You acting like your hands didn't fill up her business, and then when she gave in, you too good to be with her. Fickle ass though, you need to stop slut shaming. Boys, stop shaming these sluts. If you didn't need her, then she wouldn't exist, and now you walking around like you wasn't trying to hit. Say she got daddy issues and can't treat a man right. You didn't have a daddy either and can't be a man right. You judge her because she easy with the sexing and stroking like you the only one around here that's allowed to be broken. Pious ass, though, you need to stop slut shaming. Boys, stop shaming these sluts. If you didn't need her, then she wouldn't exist, and now you walking around like you weren't trying to hit. Say she's not wife material, so you can't be with her. You so deep fried and full of shit. Instead of trying to take her down, what if you could build her up? Show her what a man's about. Show her that her true value's not in giving it up. Promote the ways that she's more than enough. But if you've ever had the benefit of getting serviced by a slut, do yourself a favor, son, and keep your big mouth shut. You threw up the bat signal and a slut flew in. Gave you pleasure that no other girl was trying to give. Ungrateful ass, no, you need to stop slut shaming. Boy, stop shaming these sluts. If you didn't need her, then she wouldn't exist, and now you walking around like you wasn't trying to hit. Say you want a good woman, but you not a good man. Trying to hold her up to standards you don't hold for yourself. You know you went with the slut cause she giving it up. Passed up a good girl like she wanted too much. The numbers are all based on supply and demand. If it wasn't for her service, you'd be loving your hand. If there were no slut hounds, there'd be no sluts left, cause she can't be a slut by herself. You can't change a hoe to a housewife. She can't change a court jester to a king. You are the company that you keep, so you lay down with her, she's your equal. Woo!
See why Danielle's a favorite here at the Rialto. All right, next to the stage, we have a good friend of mine for many years. Please welcome to the stage, Blak Reign.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Let's give it up for the feature tonight. Everybody who has blessed this stage. Friend of mine, Angry Cow. Moo. I do that at a lot, especially at his earlier performances, and people thought I was booing him. But I'm a humble, somebody said something, a meek type of person, but I just say, you know, if you keep it meek, if you keep it humble, you can always level up. I just thought of that right then and there. So it's just, I love to basically put my heart either on. If I was an octopus, all 8 of them, you know what I'm saying? And this friend of mine right here, man, he humbles me even more because I was intimidated when my cousin basically got me to the mic and was like, dude, you got a voice, you got something to say? And it's like, okay, whatever. Everybody got something to say. A lot of times people don't want to hear it though. And more, I just got more comfortable with myself, and Keith was one of those ones who kind of lifted me up because I tell the story is, man, there's a bunch of poets up here and they got books and stuff out and this and that. It's not a real poetry slam, but yeah, it was a competition. And this was the first time I was actually introducing my writing, my expression to people. And you got books and this and that. But I won, you know what I'm saying? So that was
well deserved too.
But I always have to tell that story is because, honestly, I didn't even really want to get up here and say nothing after I heard you. This is my first time hearing you live, and then I heard you. Man, that's nasty. I love that. Nasty in a good way. Very good way. I'm a funk child, so funk will either move you the right way or it's just gonna stank. That did not stank. But you put some stank on it. You put some stank on that, I'm telling you. Everybody who blesses this, please continue to express yourself. You're phenomenal.
Thank you.
You know, no doubt. And I got to come up behind all of y'all. And honestly, y'all made me kind of like, man, why? I'm not a poet. I don't consider myself a poet. I express myself, and that's just what I do. But I'm gonna do I'm an artist. I do certain music. I try to use my vocal talents. I rap. I sing. I might do some jazz scats or something like that. But basically, I write a lot of lyrics, and I just love to express myself. And I think it's just fitting. I mean, talking about the rain, yeah, I go by the name Blak Reign. That's BLAK, no C. The creator claims that he made all this possible. So in my darkness, he reigns in my life. So REIGN, but that's who I am. So I'm really like just an ambiguity out here, you know, a vessel of sound. But it's called forgiveness, and what I had to do is basically, you know, get over myself, get past myself, some of the things that I've seen, some of the things that I haven't come to grips with, or trying to understand why and how and this and that. But starts off as I'm far from crazy, but many times I think I'm a step from insane. Makes me want to be an Olympic track star and vote on these perpetrators like my name was Usain. Criminal-minded? Who knows what lurks in the hearts of men? But you better believe, back in the day, I used to have some vicious ways deep within. But I had to contain it, you know, rearrange it, find some sort of reconciliation. There you go again. I forget it every time. I'm sorry, I'm so emotional right now because I said I wasn't going to perform until the 15th because I'm trying to practice for that, and this was not one of the things that I was going, so I'm kind of on a regimen, but I'll pick back up. Forgive me, please.
Yeah.
Forgiveness, that's the name of it.
That's right.
Find some sort of reconciliation. There's a thin line between love and hate, but I'm vindicated like Mike Jack. That is just my human nature. You understand, sometimes people will be out here that you have to play the role to try to perpetrate you. I once heard this guy say he couldn't be a poet because he couldn't sound like this or sound like that. I said, yo man, poetry is an expression. You don't have to sound like anything. Silence could be poetic. Could it not be? So once again, looking in his eyes, because I was there when I mentioned you, I had to forgive myself. I did judge you when you walked on stage with that cow outfit on,
True story.
talking all these words of meaningfulness. Watch what we eat. Watch your diet. Watch what you consume. I did listen to your words, but it took away that vision of your but I love it, and you need it. Bring it back more often. Seriously. Because he rattled me with this cow outfit, but then he just came up there and blew me away, and I was all like, oops, asshole. You know what I'm saying? Because I judged it. I did. And I'll confess that right now. I forgot my poem, Forgiveness, but I will be performing the 15th. I'm gonna go into the one that I did here last time. And Nikki, she said it was all right, so I think I can do it again. And I'm gonna step away from the mic. It's called Perpetual. I hope I don't forget this one. Picture prophecies during the purple passions of peace. Pestilence, poverty, and pessimism is what they preach. People, we got to press on, push through our problems while practicing particular protocol to solve them. You see, patience and pressure, it makes the diamond perfected. The pleasure and pain, it parts the heart. Please protect it. While passionate people preaching peace with their palms, my persona is positive of premonition songs. While I deliver these phenomenal parables to my people, precaution, check the proceeds before you check the peephole. While I'm preciously painting vivid pictures of the palace, these power pack punks get eaten by Lake Placid. I recommend you all, puff puff pass it, don't pretend to be passive. I'm trying to feed my family, I gotta stretch like plastic. But prisons and pistols and punishment, it's all a plot. Political position is perplexed by the pot as I puff and pray. Perpetually. I'm gonna keep going on. Blak Reign.
All right, next to the stage we have a freestylist, a producer, all kinds of amazing things. Please welcome to the stage Miss Millz.
Miss Millz.
Blessings upon blessings to you all. Are amazing. Oh my God. I feel like this is the best part of Ohio we never know about. And it makes your whole body just... My name is Miss Millz. I do produce. I do a lot of things. But right now, Blak Reign got me on this poetic. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say something I created as a song. It has an impactful meaning in what I was saying. I might freestyle alone, but work with me. Alright. The friction between me and this global affair, it's always been about power and political warfare. The hypocrisy, it is a democracy. It's leaking in the streets. I can tell how you look at my coat while I speak. Slow with it, timid. I'm caring and kind. Biting my hand while I feed you a good line. I'm just trying to motivate you, baby. But you calling me hate. You say I'm dick riding just to support and elevate. Can we make this a theme where we support and elevate? Cause light is the next elevation to all of us so we can celebrate. Blessings.
All right. Hey, King.
Yeah.
So since February is somebody's birthday month, I think the cows should come
January.
back.
Cows, you come back?
Hey. So,
All right. You might need to remind me like before that one. But I'd be happy to bring it up. All right. So for this this competition where Blak Reign and I met, we performed first round against each other. It wasn't elimination. You got points for the first three, and then the four that advanced, including the two of us. Then it was elimination after that point in time. But you know, we met and then we were competing against each other for points on stage. And I was in a cow costume. Wasn't what I planned to do tonight, but all right, sure. I'll give you the title piece for the Angry Cow. So, kind of what became Angry Cow Poetry. Azrael Johnson was running writing nights, and we're doing these sword fight competitions. So small SW, big W word. And so you're battling with words. And Azrael was encouraging if you've got, a costume or a theme or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then a lot of my poetry, especially at the time, was from the perspective of animals, the things we do to animals, and then, call them happy and things like that while we're doing this to them. And so I decided, all right, I'll be the angry cow and kind of bust some of those myths. So I'll give you the title piece. It is just rhyming and repetitive, but, it's fun. We'll see if I really did not plan to do this till like 2 minutes ago. So we'll see if I remember, but it's been a while. It's been years. Happy cows, are you fucking nuts? You take our babies, you spill their guts. You drink the food we create for them. And when that shit slows, you make us pregnant again. And you take that baby, and the next one too. Then soon enough, we're not profitable for you. There ain't no retirement in happy cow land. You slit our throats. Call it consumer demand. Now that's fucked up. But you don't stop there. You pile on lies to hide the despair. Cows give us milk. Bitch, please, fuck you. It isn't a gift when it's stolen from you. Humanely raised. Well, isn't that sweet? As you slice us apart while we hang from our feet. We need calcium. Try chewing some greens. Leave me alone. Eat your goddamn beans. Vegetables are yucky. Boo fucking who? So you take our babies, then you eat me too? You do this to us time and again. Then you draw a picture of me with a big old grin. You put our slaughtered bodies on top of your plates and you expect me to have a smile on my face? I'm the angry cow. I'm tired of your lies. I'm tired of being served with a bucket of fries. I'm an angry cow. I'm back for more. Because you see my titties and you want to pour mammal milk at 38? Damn, your infancy is running late. I'm the angry cow. You would be too if they looked at you and wanted to chew. Happy cows, you made that shit up to ease your guilt at slicing us up. Thank you. So one of the things I loved about Blak Reign starting this mooing is I'm impervious to booze now. Like, if somebody would ever, I don't know if anyone has booed me, but if it would happen, I would think you're like offering moos of encouragement. So it's like, it's been beautiful. Like, feel free if you're boo. I'm like, oh, they like me. But earlier today, Jim Ballard over here will be here tomorrow night. Recorded, Tone, who's not here, High Priest, and I went over and we did a piece together that I performed and that Tone played guitar and did some vocals on. This one was based on a meme, and a lot of my poetry personally is just reactions to a world that's often unjust to humans, to non-humans, and poetry is as I tell people, poetry is kind of why I don't just scream out the back door. I have something to release some of that by. So this piece, if you'll bear with me for Jim's request here, is called Tone Deaf Karen's Tone Deaf Meme. Martin looted nothing, Martin burned nothing, Martin attacked no one. Reads Tone Deaf Karen's Tone Deaf Meme. Why can't you just do that, she offers. Not to the police nor the military, both armed to the teeth, fingers itching on the trigger. No, her demand for nonviolence is directed solely at those whose cries for equality are still left unanswered. Ignoring the vast majority of protesters who are peaceful. Equating a broken store window with violence like shattered glass somehow matches firing 7 bullets into someone's back. Why can't you respond like Martin did, she wonders. That's an awful lot to ask, considering King's protests were only nonviolent on one side. Your meme speaks volumes, Karen. And this is what I hear. Why can't you just write letters from the prison cell they lock you inside for peacefully protesting? While the government tracks and taps you, considering you a national threat. Why can't you march peacefully across the bridge, knowing you'll return beaten and bloody at the hands of the law if you return at all? Why don't you offer your brain to the baton, your tender thigh to the sharp daggers of the dog's mouth? Hoping that a camera is rolling, hoping that this time some white American will be watching, and this time they will finally give a shit. That they will finally decide after 55 years, hell, after 400 years, that your life mattered. While we debate and evade the simple recognition of your value, why can't you stand there peacefully waiting? While bullets, rubber and real, fly in your direction from a peaceless officer or from some kid crossing state lines to use your body as target practice. Let me sit back in my comfortable privilege asking you, why can't you just be killed peacefully like Martin? Letting your brilliance drip onto the street, hoping your blood will be what finally makes us realize that you mattered. Thank you for indulging. I've given myself there. So I do have a spoken word album coming out. We're doing some things for it, so that'll be available at some point in time. Jason Chamberlain recorded the vast majority of it, my friend back here at the bar. Tell you what, let's take 5 minutes. I'm going to reset batteries in both my cameras here, and then we're going to have Michelle back up, talk to a friend, grab another drink, whatever, do 5 more minutes. We'll do 1 more set for Michelle.
You have to make it sound almost like a boo. Seriously, I got to check. They're like, why are you booing? I said, no, angry cow.
Are being unkind to each other. We tease each other. He teases me about being from Warsaw. I tease him about being from Shaker. He says I'm ghetto, and I say he's a white boy. Our child is from Twinsburg, so that's like. So when they try to act like a thug, I'll be like, okay, Twinsburg.
Right.
it sort of makes everything look like the ghetto. So this book is called Vagina Analogues, and so I came up with the title before I came up with the poems. So I'm sure most of us have heard of Vagina Monologues, and it's this play where the women talk as the, parts of women and the experiences that these women have had. So I remember, because I've been a little angry little feminist since I was like 13. And when I found out about this play, I was really thrilled. And then I saw it, and there were like no black women. Right. Which kind of happens a lot of times in feminism, if it's not intersectional feminism, if people haven't like made the effort to sort of think about the fact that women come in all sort of, shapes and sizes and colors, and some women even have penises. It happens. Then people have a discussion about women and what's concerning women and leave out millions and millions of women. But on the other side of that, a lot of times when we talk about black people and the problems that black people have, we forget to talk about women too. I was just at this social justice think tank, and this very nice man, and he runs this all boys school, and it's all black, and he was talking about all the things, the boys come in and they wear their ties and you greet them all, and they do, and it's wonderful and necessary. And so I'm sitting there with Josiah, who has known me since 2001. So I'm sitting, I'm listening, I'm nodding, and then they were like, "We're ready for questions." And I went up, and he knew. And when I came back, he was like, "I knew you were going to ask that." I was like, "It's amazing that there is all of this effort in Cleveland to help to educate black boys, but what are y'all doing for black girls?" Right? Because a lot of times when we talk about black people, we talk about men, and so a lot of times when we talk about women, they're white, and so folks like me are not in the conversation. So that's where the analogues came from. I took all these poems that were written by men, and I made them into female poems. But it wasn't just like switching out the pronouns. Just like when people confirm their gender, just like when people sort of figure out who they are or what they are, is so much deeper than that, right? So the thing that I committed to was to take whatever sort of linguistic thing was happening in the line, whatever kind of part of speech, whatever kind of pattern, and keep that, but make a point about women. That's harder than to just say, swap out she's for he's. I know that I did a good job because my friend from my PhD program, I didn't finish my PhD, because if I did, I'd make everybody call me doctor. Everybody, including my child. And my husband. My mother has a PhD, and my dad introduces her everywhere we go, including like the pancake house and Dr. Smith. And when I talk about her, I go Dr. Smith and my dad. Because I'm a hater. Anyway, but my friend in my PhD program, her name is Ann, shout out. I sent her all these, and she read all of them side by side with the originals to make sure that it wasn't just patchwork plagiarism, as English teachers would say. And she was like, "You got it." And so that's what these are. So the title of the original poem is in the title of each poem. So later, you can go and look at the originals. Every original is amazing, which is why I was chosen. I chose all these excellent poems, and then I tried to like make them better. Because I don't have a problem with my ego or anything. I'm humble. Yeah, I'm not that humble.
Me neither, really, but...
I got a Sag moon, and I'm a Libra.
Woo woo, Sagittarius.
Woo woo. All four of my grandparents are Sagittarius, so you know I'm crazy.
Right.
Every single one of them. So.
Wait a minute, all of your grandparents?
All four. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
All four of my grandparents are Sagittarius.
I bet she got some good comebacks,
Slickest mouth. Always got in trouble for my mouth growing up. Slickest mouth ever. When I was a teacher, it was my favorite. I would say the most unacceptable things to kids. And then they would be too embarrassed to tell the principal. I hate you, Miss Smith. I love you too. Alright. This is called, no, actually I was very sweet to my students. This is called Black Art, and it's analog to Black Art by Amiri Baraka. They say poems are bullshit unless they are biceps or beards or balls slapping outraged chins, or black men dying of white men sodomizing, sobbing assholes, bleeding them dry. Fuck these poems. And they are useless. They shoot, come at you, hate what you are, mouth breathe like babies, wipe themselves on you after pissing. Women want our words making our world whole flesh and clean of blood. Hearts, brains, souls being whatever the fuck. We want poems like fist beating niggas out of submission, or knife poems in the guts of the traitorous white bitches. Black poems to smear on bespoke white boys whose brains are the gel crusted in Donald Trump's hair. Fuckers. We want poems that kill. 20 gauge poems, poems that shoot first, poems that knock cops on the concrete and whip them with their own pistols, leaving them broken with lives dangling between our fingers. Pretty poems for our sisters, and yes, even our men. Diasporic poems. This is where you gotta do it. Make the noise. I can't do it. Ululate. Like, oh, yeah. I love that she knew what I meant. Most people don't know what that's called. Gathering power and death to our chest. And it is actually printed there, but I don't have that gift. Look at the so-called spokesman for our people clutch his dick and shrivel into his shame. There's a black leader pinned to a corpse, wilting in the salt of his own tears. Another black leader marching a block from the White House, bending his back to a cop threatening to shoot his people. Fixes his mouth to beg. Put it on him poem. Shove his face in the truth. A woman poem cracking steel knuckles in preparation for a battle. Poems scream poison gas on beasts in blue uniforms. Clean out the world for freedom and love. Let there be no love. Poems written until black women can exist freely and fully. Let black women understand that they are the lovers and they are warriors, and warriors are poems and poets and all the loveliness here in this world. Black women want black poems and black love. Let the love be a black poem, and let all black people speak this poem proudly and loud. Woo! So this next one is Girl in a Stolen Evening Gown, and it's an analog to Boy in a Stolen Evening Gown by Saeed Jones, which is one of the loveliest poems ever. In this imperial hothouse, I am a pet butterfly. How I wear the world, sequin hem flouncing my way through cobra lilies, sweet, lethal blossoms. I pirouette in a cloud of carnivores. Woman who is not yet, woman who is yet not. I fight to undo my antique buttons, peel off the chiffon yoke I am squeezed into. I wiggle my hips free from fashion, my bruised flesh flopping out of my steel corsetry. See me. I am ripping apart this slavish silhouette, loosing the wildness I have tucked up under my wig. Watch me slip out of this falseness, leave the dress in its white mess at my feet. I could be a mannequin, or I could be the girl wearing nothing at all of theirs, a negligee of my own black skin. So there is this amazingly, well, first of all, there are a ton of amazingly talented poets in Cleveland, one of which I am married to, two of which are back here. Are y'all from Cleveland? Y'all from Akron? Okay. Yeah, okay, no, okay. All right. But one of the most talented poets in Cleveland is this man named Quartez Harris. Oh, man. And Quartez Harris wrote this book called We Made It to School Alive. And the thing that's so amazing about this book is Quartez Harris is a black boy who went to CMSD and was labeled, with learning issues, and then grew up to become a second grade teacher in CMSD with a little black boy in CMSD. And so he wrote about that experience, and we made it to school a lot. He wrote as a father, he wrote as a student, he wrote as a teacher, and it's a really amazing piece. And the cover is Black Boys with Butterfly Wings, which I love. But there's a poem in there called Boys, and this one is called Girls. And this is Analogue to Boys by Quartez Harris, Girls. There we were, hanging around, snapping and popping double bubble, jutting tits and hips, pouting lips, sexually sucker punching these niggas, trying to make a movie out of anything that happened. Trying to stoke desire into our not yet exes. Waiting for a come on which would justify our anticipation. We were armed with lust, impossibly open, unbroken, sweet, unready, and oh so pretty. There was the future, which led off to some magical thing called marriage. It seemed the world might be bigger than the circle of some boy's ashy arms, but no one reassured us. Being so young, we didn't know growing up meant more than wrapping folks in our bodies like we were blankets. Fast-acting girls, glittering with unknown gifts, afraid to create anything a man couldn't imagine, desperate for a dad's validation. Which the mothers at my church let my girls and me know how bad it hurt to be knocked up. Gave our bodies something else to want rather than brokenness and babies. Thinking, of course, this is what we are made for. This is how we become women.
Yeah.
They sure didn't talk about that.
Oh no. I mean, it's like, don't wear pants to church. It was always, Michelle, wake up. That was me in church. And school. But I was cold because I was on honor roll, but I slept. I guess. So, it was good. I was good. I took a class once with my mom in college. She was getting her PhD and I was getting my BA, and my mom said, act like you usually act. Don't be special for me. So I cut all the time and fell asleep. And she was really mad at me because I was on a scholarship. And she was like, what are you doing? And then I only read 5 chapters of Moby Dick, wrote the final paper and got an A. And she read all of Moby Dick and got an A. Still sorry. That was in 1998. Oh, don't say Moby Dick to my mom. She'd be like,
She'll call me doctor.
that's right, excuse me. Don't say Moby Dick to Dr. Smith.
There's respect on that name.
Respect. C and a K. Alright, so I got 2 fat girl poems.
Yes.
Yes. Or as my kid says, yes, queen. So the first one is I Want to Be Fat, an analog to I Want to Be Fat by Terrance Hayes. I want to be fat. I want a belly big enough to hold a refrigerator stuffed with laughs, hips wide enough for ancestral rhythms to stretch all out in. I want a heart bigger than a Ram HD engine. I want to be fat like an African elephant, my skin fierce, hot, thick-set black with a hulky trunk and terrifying tusks that wrestle my food into my mouth, forklift any trees standing in my way. When I am fat, white girls afraid of bad carbs will whisper, look at her. Oh my God, how she gets so big. And beneath those questions, they'll think, I wonder if she still has sex. I wonder what she looks like naked. Love me, skinny girls, as you love hunger. Love me, fat girls, as you love satisfaction. I'll let you kiss every dimple of cellulite in my ass. I'll baptize you in the sweat pooling between my tits. When I am fat, I'll scramble a dozen doubts each morning, brush my teeth after I devour them. This, of course, in the hours before I become the freak show. before I stomp the streets like a kaiju, breathing fire and freedom. I won't cry crocodile tears when white girls say I am beautiful. I'll curse their political lies and I'll blow kisses to you, Lizzo. Your ass like big baked yams, your breasts like pulchritudinous islands beneath your Lady Godiva wig. You motherfuckers will have to acknowledge my fat black ass exists. I want to be the queen of excess, the big black mouth sucking smug perfect teeth. I want fat kids to send me emails of self-respect and regalement. I want to swell thick with pride and with joy. I want to live in an ocean of love, this ocean of flesh, this heart like a whale singing at the center of it, this heart like a moon waxing high above, bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
For the record, if you tell a fat girl that she's brave, you're being fatphobic. Just saying. Because you're acknowledging that there's something wrong with being fat in this culture.
Unless you just
and
jumped
you're
in the street
agreeing.
and saved your dog from getting hit by a car.
There you go. Right. Or something else heroic like that. Thank you. All right. This one is not an analog. This is me. It's called Fat Girl Secrets. When you are not looking, I steal moments of enjoying my body. I take a type of pride in its bigness, how it dares to be something it shouldn't, how it is not shrunk even by violence or by shame. I eat because I want to eat. It gives me joy, and even though it is slippery and turns inside out and around on me every time, I trust it more than you, who could truly love me, and as I am at that, but would rather just plant victory flags in the wideness of my back. I do not believe you have won anything by being small, except smallness. I do not believe you have achieved anything by being thin, except genetic destiny, or the skill of starving slowly while smiling. There is a safety I feel in my fat woman's body you may never feel. It is a lie detector, a metal detector. My fat forms a cream line in the pool of milky maybe lovers and friends. My fat keeps me warmer than your conditions. It makes me hotter than your hollows. Yes, it hurts me, but so do you. And at least it hugs me after. At least it does not only want me when I am not me anymore. One thing I wish everybody that is not fat knew about some of us that are fat is we are big on the inside too. We are filled with every fathomable human thing, not just fucking adipose tissue and or embarrassment and or regret. I only hate the way I look when I see myself in ugly people's eyes. I don't want to be little. I want to be an ocean, to make whales so afraid to swim my body they strand themselves on the shore of me instead. I am only sorry about being fat, not for being fat. I am only sorry about being fat when it contracts the verb in my predicate to can't, or shouldn't, or isn't. When I fuck, I exult in all the sloppy, sweaty fun of all this breast, gut, hip, ass, and thigh. When I sleep, I do not dream that I am skinny. I do not dream of food or eating. I dream of being easy, being black and femme and fat in a world free of the tyranny of widths, lengths, breadths, and weights. I happen to think that I have the best calves in the world. It's true.
We checking them out now.
I used to wear 4-inch heels and they used to pop my God. But I still be like, babe, look at my calves. My teacher flats. So there is this poem. I wrote quite a few poems in the pandemic. And there's one that I really like, which coincidentally is about my husband. So, oh, it's not pornographic.
It's one of the good ones, right? Or at least kind of good.
No, being in the house in that pandemic was rough. It's our 20th year together, our 5th year of marriage, our kids turned 13. Oh boy. It was rough. All right. We made it. Okay. Yes, we did. All right. No, this is a Saturday Night in the Pandemic. Featuring Beyonce on vocals. No, I'm just kidding. Beyonce is in the poem. Saturday Night in the Pandemic. I fell asleep on the couch again. These days, my brain is even less predictable. Worse than the 8th grader seething in her bedroom, a coronavirus caught in an unwanted bubble. I had a dream. I was in a beauty pageant. Me and Beyonce. We were sitting in the dressing room, each at a mirror, crying. I, because I was the loser. She, because she was the winner. But then we smelled smoke. Saw the orange haze through the cracked door. There was fire burning up the backstage, and we both knew we couldn't get out. We were going to die here in wigs and sequin dresses, trapped in the oh no, of believing in bodies as trophies. I was sad and accidentally sighed, a face full of cyanide. I felt it stab my lung, then realized I was dreaming, then woke up. I was angry. I could still feel something sticking me, my goddamn underwire. I went to the bedroom to get my one needle, my only thread, and felt guilty, like always, that I am not my mother. I am only good for dreams and poems. But my husband called me in the hallway. Look at this, baby. It was a picture and a text. His homeboy still alive, and my husband smiling with his eyes and not just his teeth. And I knew that wherever he hid the gash, it was bleeding now. So I held him because that's what love is, right? Volunteering, getting their blood on you. But even if I'm wrong, and my tears can't wash anything off him, at least he isn't crying alone. At least he is crying. At least we are still each other's thread and needle. At least there is no fire here burning toward us, unless there is. Josiah lost his friend, his very, very good friend. He had a heart attack. And that's one of the things that I think people forget is like, yes, there was this thing happening, but life was still happening. I had a friend who lost her sister to cancer, but she couldn't see her in the hospital. She couldn't go with her to chemo. You know, there weren't funerals. My grandfather, who was this amazing man, we were in Detroit. He had 6 kids, and I don't even know how many cousins I got, but we all couldn't be there at the funeral. This was a man who was really religious. We couldn't have it at a church. It was a really hard time in so many ways. Yeah, his friend was RJ. He was a really, really good person. So rest in peace, RJ. All of these are very complex. I'm in a good mood. I don't know if we want to go to this place.
Take us.
Oh no. I need about 2 shots, maybe 3. Need somebody to drive my husband home, and then we go. I'm kidding. But I will do 2 more, and that'll be it. And both of them are about marriage. You may not want a husband something after this? No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding. Jokes. These are the jokes. I told you I wanted to be a comedian. All right. What I have learned from marriage so far. Because we were together for 20 years, but we were only married for 5. So I did not know anything about marriage. And I was 40 when I got married. So I thought, like, oh, this is easy. Not so. All right. In marriage, there is no room for doubt. In marriage, there are mansions of doubt. It is all about who your partner is. It doesn't matter who your partner is. Violence has no place in a marriage. Violence is every place in a marriage. In every marriage, there is a gardener and there is a bonsai. There is always someone with their hands dirty. There is always someone feeling potted, clipped, or thirsty. In marriage, you should listen. In marriage, you've got to talk. Silence is golden. It can melt and evaporate. Words are tantalum, dense, damn near impossible to destroy. In marriage, you must always tell the truth. In marriage, you cannot always tell the truth. You may be adulterous in your marriage, but you cannot be disloyal in your marriage. Being there for your partner can mean everything. Being there with your partner can feel like nothing. Your heart's got to be in it to make it work. Your heart can be in it, and it still may not work. God must be a man, I'm sorry. He gave me this heart. God must be a woman. She gave me this heart. You are going to break your vows eventually. Your vows are going to break you eventually. Love can save your life. Love can be the fucking death of you. You have to mean it when you say I do. You can't know what you mean when you say I do.
That whole growing together business.
My Lord.
Does that
When we
really
met, he was 20 years old, and I was 25. I'm a panther. Right? You know what they call you? Black, not a cougar. His mother thought that I had come to steal him away and make him do my bidding. I had come to steal him. I did not want to make him do my bidding. I just wanted to kiss him, and now we have a teenager. And that's how love works. No, I'm just kidding.
Kiss me, my clothes fell off.
like those were literally the steps. And now we have, no, I'm just kidding. Fun fact, he was a slam poet. I was never a slam poet. And we met, and I didn't know him, and he had beat my friend in the slam, and she was like, oh, you need to meet him. He's so, he's got the best voice, as y'all witnessed. And so he was young, he had dreads and everything. He was all slim, he smoked, kind of smoked. And so we went to the open mic, and I hadn't heard. He was very quiet in the back of the car, and I was all like, it's very, very quiet. And he got on the mic, and it was like, oh, right? And I was like, oh my God. And then I told him he was gonna be my baby dad. That's a verbatim quote. That's literally
She put a spell on you.
Can't argue with that.
He fell for that older woman shit.
Name offer he couldn't refuse.
So this is a found poem. So a found poem is when you go into a piece and you leave everything where it is and you just make a poem out of it. A Shinto is different because you can move things around. You can do whatever you want. But a found poem is like you have to take it in order. You got to take it as it comes and make your poem. So this poem is called, and this is the finale, How Do I Know If My Black Wife Is Dying? And it's a found poem from an article, How Do I Know If My Cactus Is Dying? Because when I try to think of what people think about black women and how we are, sometimes I do think it's like cactuses, right? You can't touch us. We're very prickly, and we don't need a lot of tending. And that's wrong. So how do I know if my black wife is dying? Does it look unhealthy or unhappy? If so, then you should be worried. The truth is that black wives are hardy and will thrive with minimal care. However, just like any other living thing, they have weaknesses. So how do you know if your black wife is dying? Well, one of the easiest ways to know is checking. Typically, a dying black wife feels shakier and may appear to fall off. This is a clear sign of underlying problems. It is good to know that some black wives change when they are stressed and unhappy. Your black wife will develop a hard skin where its green outer layer used to be. Death is guaranteed if you do not take rapid action. You should be worried if your black wife has become wobbly, because this is a clear sign. Why is it dying? Black wives need love, attention, support of a special type to thrive. Have you noticed unusual stretching of your black wife towards a light source? This might be a sign of inadequate exposure. You need to keep in mind that black wives are susceptible to death if the conditions are not right. To save your black wife, always act swiftly whenever you notice any of the symptoms above. You now know about dying black wives and what you can do to save them. It is now time to check around your black wife and do the necessary.